All right, it's been a little over a week, so we are overdue to talk about Kid Cudi's newest album, Insano. I've enjoyed his music over the years, but I'm not a diehard waiting on him to drop music, especially like a lot of people my age who were around high school and college age around the time when he debuted over a decade ago. So the first time I listened to this album, I didn't love it. But oftentimes it takes me 2 or 3 times to listen to an album before it really starts to click for me. So I listened to it again, and again, and again. And the more I listened to Insano, the more I actually didn't like it, and now I feel comfortable saying that most of this album is very, very bad. The majority of this album are super mid wannabe bangers with some of the most basic and uncreative lyrics that I have ever heard. And I especially think this is noticeable when Cudi has another artist featured on the song with him, because typically their verses are far superior to his. Get Off Me is a good example. Travis Scott has a great verse, he says some fly shit, but then you have Kid Cudi's first verse that doesn't even make any sense, and all he goes is like, I'm cooler than y'all, I'm raw, I want a car, don't care what it costs, I'm zooted, no cap. We don't get any clever wordplay or similes or metaphors or any fly way to say that he's cool other than just being like, yeah, I'm cool. Probably the most egregious example is his first verse on Most Ain't Dennis. He says, act like my poo don't stink.
Stinky!
Walking in a party with a drink and my crew and a blunt. Give a fuck what many N-words think while I get my fucking shine on with some girls in my lap. Is it possible to be any more literal than that? And my main takeaway from Kid Cudi's lyrics on this album is that he just wants you to bounce so fucking bad. Every other word on almost every other song is just bounce, 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 bounce. We can compare him to A$AP Rocky on Wow. A$AP says, I got glitter on my teeth. I got lipstick on my briefs. That's not even much. That's not even that crazy, but at least he's telling us that he's hooking up with the girl without just being like, hey, I'm hooking up with a girl. And then the rest of the album, you basically have Kid Cudi just being like, yeah, my clothes are really sick. Yeah, I am really cool. Bounce. Yeah, I'm smoking a blunt. Yeah, bad bitch on my lap. Bounce. Yeah, I am wild. Bounce. Also, most of the choruses are like no more than 5 words, like bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm living wild, wild, wild. Nah, 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 nah. Which that one actually, it's one of the only songs I do like on this album, Electro Baby. I think it sounds like vintage Cudi. It's one of the only songs that sounds like vintage Cudi. Benny X's production is amazing on that. I like the whistling and the beat. Like that song is good, but the rest of it, like, what else is there? Oh yeah, and there's like get him up, get him up, get him up, get him up. Like you get the idea. It's just like very simple, uncreative choruses. But then there are songs with actual choruses with real creative lyrics and actual song structure, and those are the better songs. Like At the Party, Travis Scott is probably the MVP of this album because he's featured on 2 of the 3 best songs on the album, and he's a highlight of those songs. Pharrell is good on this chorus. Production is good. Even Kid Cudi does shine on this song. And then just looking at the rest of the track list, the rest of it is honestly pretty uneventful. Freshie is pretty terrible. That song was bad. Tortured is actually decent. It's a little more melancholy. You get some classic Kid Cudi humming. It's one of the only songs that feels like vintage Kid Cudi, and he's actually being relatable, which has always been his strength, and you don't get much of that on this album, but that one you actually do. The XXXTentacion song is pretty gross. It screams desperation. They just ripped vocals from an existing X song called Orlando and just reworked it on a new beat and just slapped it on there. This man has been dead for over 5 years, and like, if it was a song that was in the vault, maybe they worked together in the studio one time, or they were sending a song back and forth and they just like reworked the beat and put it on something else, made it work, like that would be one thing. But this is just like basically taking a song and just using it for yourself for the clout of a guy that's been dead for half a decade. It's pretty sad for someone of Cudi's stature to be resorting to this, and it's pretty gross. Like, don't do this. I don't know why they did this. Don't do this. And the last song I'll point out specifically is Blue Sky. It's not one of my favorites. I think sonically it is a little boring, but at least it's more relatable and more personal and just denser lyrically than most of the tracks on this album. So from that perspective, I think it's one of the stronger tracks we get. So I don't know. I guess more broadly on the album, Kid Cudi is saying he's happier. He's talking about interviews that he's happier. And I mean, like, I hate to be like this because it's good if someone is happier. But some artists, like Chance the Rapper, had this problem with The Big Day. Some artists, they're happier and they're in a better place in life, and they struggle to make happy music that is relatable, which is possible. You can do that. There is happy music that is relatable and enjoyable, but It's just not this. For whatever reason, some people struggle to make that type of music resonate with fans, and I think that's the case here. And I'm not sure exactly why, but DJ Drama, it didn't work on this album. It just doesn't sound or feel like a Gangsta Grillz mixtape at all. And then, DJ Drama just all of a sudden became cool again once Tyler, the Creator, put him on Call Me If You Get Lost. And Call Me If You Get Lost didn't necessarily sound like a classic Gangsta Grillz mixtape, but Tyler effectively used DJ Drama to narrate the album, and he fit perfectly with the concept and the narrative that he was, sending us throughout the album. Whereas this, it just felt awkward and clunky. DJ Drama's only on like a third of the songs, and it sounds like Kid Cudi just like slapped him on there, just being like, "Oh, DJ Drama's cool now. Here, go yell on a few songs." And it just didn't work. It's got to be all out. It's got to be an all in. It's like Gangsta Grillz is DJ Drama, or it's not. And I feel like it was somewhere in between, and no man's land. It just did not work. I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about the production. At least I think the production was solid. I think the featured artists gave high quality performances. Like, I really think 99% of the reason I didn't enjoy this album, it just falls on the shoulders of Kid Cudi. I think lyrically, he just didn't deliver and didn't have a good performance on the majority of tracks here. I honestly feel bad for being me, and I don't want to be that negative because I like Kid Cudi, but I just didn't like this. Oh, also, actually, last thing that I forgot, pretty sure months and months and months ago, before he pushed back the release date for this album, Kid Cudi teased whatever was supposed to be the lead single for this album, and then when he put it out online, fans just despised it and hated it. And he actually took the feedback and said he wasn't going to put it on, he was going to rework the album, which I respect that move. But you can't be like, okay, you're right, you guys don't like that song? Here, how about these songs that are ass? Like, no, that's not what we meant. I guess I'd give it a 4 out of 10, I guess. And I mean, it's really a bummer because, like, I did really enjoy Man on the Moon 3. That was the first solid solo Kid Cudi album we had gotten in quite a while. So I was expecting him to take a step forward on this one, and he just didn't. But okay, those are my thoughts on Kid Cudi's latest album, Insano. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. I am Don Chenz, and I will see you again soon.